Oh, Australia's most haunted rock, true ghost stories of Uluru. Yeah, I wouldn't climb Uluru. There's a lot of indigenous sites in Australia where like it's really bad juju to climb them. And there's like men's business and women's business, and so there's certain sites that only like women and men can go on. I think Mount Warning in Queensland is one that like women aren't supposed to climb, and if you do, it's like really bad. Because my cousin and her family, they climbed it, and I think they had really bad luck after that. But yeah, let's have a look at Cursed Rocks, Uluru's ghosts. I've never been to the Northern Territory, but I would like to go to Uluru. It's very beautiful, but I wouldn't climb it because if it's disrespectful to the local people, like why would you want to do that? And I don't fuck with ancestral ghosts and things like that. Like I am a believer. I say just leave it alone. It's not worth it. All right, let's have a look-see.
Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're exploring the supernatural side of one of Australia's most famous landmarks, Uluru, also known as Ayers Rock. Rising from the heart of the Australian outback, this massive sandstone monolith has been the centre of ghostly encounters, mysterious shadow figures, and an ongoing curse that has plagued visitors for decades.
Yeah, look, if a local people with 60,000 years history in an area tell you not to climb something, don't climb something, guys. Seriously. Don't piss off the ancestors and the spirits of the land and all that. Just stay away. It's like freaking knobheads that go on ghost tours. Like, there's ghosts there. Why are you going? And then have a cry, call their only goth friend, me, because they're scared because a ghost followed them home. Well, why'd you go, you dickhead? I told you not to. And that's just me gloating because I don't fuck with that shit.
The accounts you'll hear today come from documented reports, witness testimonies, and official records maintained by park rangers and paranormal researchers. Uluru stands 1,142 feet high in Australia's Red Centre, about 280 miles southwest of Alice Springs. This ancient monolith has been sacred to the Aboriginal Anangu people for over 30,000 years, who believe it houses the spirits of their ancestors from the Dreamtime. Europeans first spotted the rock in 1873, when explorer William Christie Goss named it Ayers Rock after Sir Henry Ayres, the Chief Secretary of South Australia. What Gosse didn't know was that he had stumbled upon one of the most spiritually charged locations on Earth, a place where the living world and the spirit realm seem to overlap in ways that continue to disturb visitors today. Something strange started happening in the night.
Australia has such a magical energy that like I just don't feel anywhere else. It really is such a special place. Like when I was a teenager, I lived in a region of New South Wales called the Blue Mountains, which is also like very spiritually charged. And even if you don't believe in any of that stuff, like I'm a Catholic, but you see and you feel things that are insane. Like I've spoken to a few people about this, and a lot of people have had similar experiences to me in the Blue Mountains, which are just a few hours west of Sydney. I used to do a lot of hiking, or what we call bush bashing in Australia. I used to do a lot of bush bashing when I was a teenager. Usually it was like to go get drunk in the bush or whatever. But I also just used to like looking at the show Jeopardy fucked you right off the Blue Mountains. Why? What are they saying about the Blue Mountains? The Blue Mountains are beautiful. There are a lot of cults there. I never got asked to join a cult when I was a teenager, and I was a really hot teenager. So like, why didn't you try and recruit me to your cult? Not that I would have joined, but it's nice to be asked, okay? I have social inclusion needs and I want to be asked to join the cult. So I used to do a lot of like bush bashing as a teenager because it's just a beautiful place, right? And I'm very outdoorsy. I like to go camping. I like to go bush bashing. I like to hike in, hike out of different areas, find little water holes, always finding like secret waterfalls and things like that. It was fun. Obviously I wasn't crippled with autoimmune disease then, so it was a lot easier to get around. But I always used to see this very pale girl with long dark hair wearing a white dress out of the corner of my eye. I would see her it didn't matter what part of the Blue Mountains I was in. It didn't matter if I was in Katoomba, if I was in Springwood. and these areas are like half an hour up the highway from each other, I would always see this girl. And so I started talking to people about it. They were like, oh my God, I have seen her too. I don't know what that's about, if it's like the spirit of like some convict girl, because it's obviously not like an indigenous ghost. But yeah, I don't think anyone's ever recorded that. But yeah, I would see, it was just weird because you would just see her in your peripheral, and then you would turn and obviously there's nothing there. It wasn't scary though. It wasn't a bad presence. And it would have been maybe a girl like about 12 or 13 years old. Almost looks like, you know, she was in her nightie or something, just walking around the bush. Very strange, very strange. But why did the show Jeopardy put you off the Blue Mountains? I know it's a game show, right? I know that. I know it's a game show, but I don't. What did they say about the Blue Mountains? I want to know.
1970s that park rangers at Uluru couldn't explain. Every single day, packages began arriving at their office. Inside each package was a rock, a piece of sand, or sometimes even just a twig that someone had taken from Uluru during their visit. But these weren't ordinary returns. They came with desperate letters begging forgiveness. The letters told stories that would make your skin crawl. Families wrote about sudden deaths immediately.
Oh, isn't that where Lindsay Chamberlain's daughter Azaria got eaten by dingoes as well? I believe they were camping at the foot of Uluru when that happened. You know how there's like that quote that Americans always like to like make fun of Australians with, like, dingo ate my baby. A dingo actually did eat this poor woman's baby, and no one believed her, and she went to jail for murdering her daughter. And then all this evidence came out, and it was a dingo actually did eat her baby. I mean, they're wild dogs. Like, it's not unfathomable that they would do something like that. And I believe like on Fraser Island off the coast of Queensland, like the dingoes there are like pretty aggro as well. Like they'll just kind of go for people. So I don't know. My dogs always used to bark at the dingoes and foxes that lived in the bush behind my parents' house. I guess there's like quolls and things like that could give you a nasty bite, but I've never really seen them had any problems. I've seen some brown snakes and some black snakes sort of slithering ahead of me, but you know, they hear your foot vibrations and they usually fuck off pretty fast.
Immediately after returning home. Business owners described their companies going bankrupt within weeks of their Uluru visit. Others told of car accidents, mysterious illnesses, and relationships falling apart for no reason at all. Park ranger Janet Morrison has been collecting these sorry rocks for over 15 years. She keeps them in a special storage room that visitors aren't allowed to see. The desperation in some of these letters is heartbreaking, Morrison explains. People are genuinely terrified of what's happening to their lives after taking something from this place.
Oh, why did they steal? Oh, so they
One letter that stands out.
So they stole rock. I don't understand people that do this, right? It's like people that go to Rome and like carve their name into the Colosseum. What is wrong with you? Get fucking help.
Came from a German family who paid enormous shipping costs to return a 9-kilogram rock. The father wrote that within days of bringing the rock home, his wife was diagnosed with cancer. His business partner stole their life savings, and their house was burglarized twice. "Please take this cursed thing back," he pleaded. "We just want our normal lives back." But the most extreme case involved a 32-kilogram slab of rock.
Not the game show one, a paranormal BBC one. Oh, that sounds interesting. I really, really do like British TV shows, especially the comedies. They're really, really good. But yeah, don't steal rocks from sacred sites. And if the indigenous people of an area tell you not to climb something and not to desecrate something, don't do that. Like that's, I don't know, that just seems like common sense.
Rock, mailed from South Australia. The shipping alone must have cost hundreds of dollars. The anonymous sender included only a short note. 3 family members dead. Take it back before it kills us all. What makes these stories even more unsettling is that the Aboriginal Anangu...
I would like to see the sources for this. How do I know that these people, like, look, I don't doubt that you're going to get some bad luck and some bad juju, but like, how can I substantiate this? I'm going to Google this when I finish watching this video. Because I just feel like random British man could be putting anything up on the interwebs, you know what I mean? I don't know that I trust.
People don't actually believe their rocks carry curses. They simply ask that visitors treat their sacred land with respect. Yet somehow, thousands of tourists have experienced what they can only describe as supernatural revenge for disturbing this ancient place. Park officials now receive about 365 packages per year, one for every day. The returned items fill entire storage rooms, and the Anangu people face a difficult decision about what to do with them. They can't simply put the rocks back because they don't know.
I'm sorry, my little inner skeptic has to do this. Okay, this might be legit. Tourists who steal rocks from Uluru Kata, I can't say that, National Park, often mail them back due to a belief that they bring bad luck or out of guilt. These return items, often accompanied by apologies, are referred to as sorry rocks. Rangers at the park receive these packages daily from all over the world. Well, yeah, don't steal shit from a sacred site. I don't know, kind of makes sense. I'm gonna look at that Jeopardy. I'm gonna see if I can find that Jeopardy show after this, Seb. See what they say about the Blue Mountains, because I want to know. It does have a very, very strange energy. I will say that. I don't like being there. I moved there when I was like 12 from Western Sydney. I moved to the Blue Mountains, and yeah, as soon as I finished high school, I moved back down to Sydney. Like within a week of finishing high school, I was like, nope, goodbye. It is very beautiful though, but yeah, there's there's a lot of cults there, a lot of weirdos, a lot of just, yeah, it kind of seems where like the dregs of society go to play, to be honest.
Know exactly where each piece came from, and disturbing the landscape further might cause even more spiritual problems. University student Rebecca Matthews experienced something at Uluru that she still can't explain.
Uluru, please.
She was part of a study abroad program travelling through Australia's outback in 2009. The group had stayed overnight in Alice Springs and left before dawn to reach Uluru for sunrise. Rebecca was the only student awake during the bus ride, staring out the window as the first light of dawn began to reveal the desert landscape. The bus slowed down and turned into an empty parking area near the base of Uluru. That's when she saw something that made every hair on her body stand up. There was this figure moving across the scrubland, she recalls. But it wasn't human. It was too tall, maybe 10 feet, with arms and legs that seemed way too long for any person. The weird thing was, even though there was enough light to see the trees and rocks clearly, this thing looked like it was made of pure shadow. What disturbed Rebecca most was how the figure moved. It didn't walk like a normal person. Instead, it had this flowing, swaying motion, like it was gliding just above the ground. The shadow figure moved with an unnatural grace that seemed completely wrong for something so tall and thin. Rebecca watched the shadow figure for what felt like several minutes, though it was...
I've seen something like that near Canangra Walls, just on the far side of the Blue Mountains, like this very deep canyon. Yeah, the Blue Mountains are one of the most beautiful places in the world, and because of living there for like 7 years, whenever like I go to a place that's supposed to be one of the most beautiful places in the world, I'm kind of like, meh. It's like the Grand Canyon. I mean, good for the Grand Canyon, I guess. Like, wow. I'm just so desensitized to like natural beauty that I'm just like, because I just lived in like one of the most beautiful places in the world for so long that I'm just like,
Probably only about 30 seconds. She tried to wake her friend sleeping in the seat next to her, but by the time her friend looked out the window, the figure had vanished completely. I felt this electric shock run through my whole body when I first saw it, she says. Like every nerve was suddenly on high alert. I've never felt anything like that before or since. It was pure terror, mixed with this weird fascination. The tour guide later mentioned that the Anangu people have stories about spirit beings that appear near Uluru, especially during the transition times of dawn and dusk. These spirits, called Mamu, are said to be the ghosts of ancient warriors who died during battles in the Dreamtime. Rebecca's experience matches dozens of other shadow figure sightings reported near Uluru over the past 2 decades. Most witnesses describe the same features, an impossibly tall, thin figure that appears to be made of solid darkness, moving with an otherworldly grace across the landscape. Tour guide Michael Stevens has been leading groups around Uluru for 12 years, and he's learned to recognize when the rock is having one of its active days. You can feel it in the air, he explains. There's this heaviness, like the atmosphere itself is holding its breath. Stevens has witnessed dozens of visitors suddenly stop during walks around the base of Uluru, claiming they feel like they're being watched. It happens most often near the Mutijulu waterhole. He says, people will be walking along normally, and then they'll freeze and start looking around nervously. Tourist photography often captures more than visitors expect at Uluru. Stevens mentions that people frequently show him their photos later, pointing out dark shapes or unexplained shadows that weren't visible when they took the picture. While we don't have access to these photographs due to
That's
copyright
convenient.
restrictions, park officials...
That's convenient. I want to see. Although I honestly believe this, like there's so many weird things about the Australian continent, and I've experienced a lot of weird stuff because, you know, I like to go camping by myself. Well, I did before I got sick. I like to go camping a lot by myself. I really enjoy the solitude of the bush, and I really just, you know, just enjoy just being the fuck away from everybody, honestly. It's, you know, it's very, you know, just communing with nature. It's very relaxing. And I've definitely seen a lot of weird stuff in the Australian bush, for sure. There's definitely a lot more going on. And because our country's so vast and there's so much of it that's unexplored, I think there's probably so many species of animal that we don't even know exist in Australia. There's got to be, like, even like the panther sightings all over the Australian continent. Like, there's got to be either some type of native Australian feline or a marsupial that is kind of feline shaped, if you will. My mum has seen the Blue Mountains panther, and her neighbor saw it on the same day as well. Yeah, there's just a lot of weird stuff going on in this neck of the woods, guys.
We receive images from confused tourists asking for explanations. The feeling of being observed seems strongest in the early morning and late evening hours. Stevens describes how entire tour groups have fallen silent simultaneously, all turning to look in the same direction, as if drawn by an invisible force. I've seen grown men suddenly grab their wives and insist they need to leave immediately, Stevens recalls. They can't explain why, but something about the place just overwhelms them with dread. The Anangu people have always known that Uluru is home to powerful spirits. Their traditional stories tell of the Kurpani, a massive devil dog spirit that can shapeshift into different forms, including human-like ghosts called Mamu. According to Elder William Namajira, these spirits still guard Uluru today. The old people, they never fully left, he explains. They're still here.
Do you reckon he's related to Albert Namajira, the famous painter? Oh, those paintings are so beautiful.
Watching over the sacred places, making sure people show proper respect. The stories describe how the Kurpani attacked and killed several warriors during ancient battles, and those dead warriors remain trapped in caves within Uluru. Namajira points to specific areas of the rock where he says you can still hear the spirits of these ancient fighters. Sometimes at night, you can hear them moving around inside the rock, he says. Scratching sounds like they're trying to get out.
Look at, like, you can just see the spirals of the Milky Way because there's no light pollution there. Because the closest place is like Alice Springs, and that's ages away. That's insane. That's so beautiful.
The old people knew to stay away from those places after dark. These traditional ghost stories help explain why so many modern visitors experience unexplained phenomena at Uluru. The Aboriginal people believe the site contains layers of spiritual energy, built up over thousands of years of ceremonies, battles, and sacred rituals. Night guard David Palmer worked at the Uluru Visitor Centre for 7 years before transferring to a different location. He refuses to discuss most of what he experienced during those nighttime shifts, but he did share a few incidents that convinced him the area is genuinely haunted. The building would be completely empty, but you'd hear footsteps upstairs, Palmer explains. Not settling noises or anything like that, actual footsteps, like someone walking around wearing boots. Palmer also describes seeing lights moving around the base of Uluru during his night patrols, even though no tourists were supposed to be in the area after sunset. When he investigated these lights, he never found any people or equipment that could explain them. The worst part was the feeling of being followed, he recalls. You'd be walking back to the building, and you'd get this overwhelming sense that something was right behind you. But every time you turned around...
I used to get that all the time in the Blue Mountains, besides like the girl that I used to see in my peripheral vision all the time. Yeah, there's definitely sometimes you're just walking and you'll just freeze. And you'll be like looking around. I don't know, you're just compelled to stop, and you just feel something. Like there's definitely some some very ancient, I don't even know what you would call it, but there's definitely just these overwhelming like cold sensations that just come down your body, even if it's like well into like over 40 degrees in the summer and you're not in the rainforest, but you're up in like the dry eucalypt forest, like up on a ridge or something, so it's like really, really hot. You sometimes can just get like this chill to your bone. And the Blue Mountains is also like another area in Australia that's like incredibly spiritually significant to the Indigenous people of the area.
Nothing was there. Palmer eventually requested a transfer after what he calls the incident with the voices. He won't go into detail, but he mentions hearing what sounded like a large group of people having a conversation somewhere inside Uluru itself, as if the voices were coming from within the solid rock. Electronic equipment often malfunctions around Uluru in ways that can't be explained by normal technical problems. Photographer Amanda Ross discovered this during a 2018 professional shoot when her camera equipment began acting erratically. "My cameras would turn on and off by themselves," Ross explains. "Fresh batteries would drain completely within minutes. I've been a photographer for 20 years, and I've never seen anything like it." Ross also experienced what she describes as time distortions while working near Uluru. She would start taking photos in what felt like early afternoon light, but when she checked her camera's timestamp, hours had passed without her realizing it. "I lost almost 3 hours somehow," she says. "One minute I was setting up a shot, and the next minute the sun was setting. There's no..."
I do that all the time, but it's just my ADHD. I just haven't realized that I've hyper-focused on something and my day's just gone because I just went down some rabbit hole reading shit.
No explanation for what happened to that time. Cell phones and GPS devices also frequently malfunction near Uluru. Visitors report their phones randomly shutting down, even with...
What was the photographer doing there anyway? Lots of people like to take photos of Uluru. A lot of people do. I think because the sky's so insanely blue there and the soil's insanely red and the rock's insanely red. And then, there's some greenery. And I think the contrast is just really beautiful. I think a lot of people, because it's in the middle of nowhere. If you've traveled all the way out there as well, I think you're going to want to take a lot of photos there. But I would never climb it. Like I don't want some like ancestral curse on me. But after we finish watching this video, I'm going to bring up if I can find anything about Mount Warning, because I know that you're not supposed to climb that. And my cousin and her family climbed it and a bunch of like stuff happened. And I told them not to do it. I think it's women aren't supposed to climb it. Indigenous Australians have like women's business and men's business. So there's like sites that only women can go to and sites that only men can go to. And it's like super bad if you go to a site that you're not supposed to, that your sex isn't supposed to go to.
Batteries and GPS systems giving impossible directions or showing locations that don't exist. The strangest aspect of Uluru's supernatural activity is that some spirits seem to be protecting people rather than harming them. Emergency responder Bradley Thomas has worked search and rescue operations in the Uluru area for 8 years, and he's noticed patterns that don't make logical sense. "We've had people get lost in the desert around Uluru who should have died from exposure," he explains. But somehow, they end up finding water sources that aren't on any maps, or they stumble across shelters in places where there shouldn't be any. Bradley describes rescuing a family whose car broke down 20 miles from Uluru during extreme heat. They had no water.
If you ever go anywhere in Australia that's not one of the exterior roads, like the roads that go around the coasts of the continent, you need a satellite phone. Go to the supermarket, buy at least 10 liters of water, and if your car breaks down, stay with your fucking car, okay? I cannot emphasize this enough. Stay with your fucking car. Wait there until someone drives there. Even if you're on the Stewart Highway, it doesn't matter where the fuck you are. If you're crossing the fucking Nullarbor, I don't care. Stay with your car. If it takes 20 hours for someone to drive past, it takes 20 hours for someone to drive past. Make sure you have at least 10 liters of water. It's not that hard. Make sure you've just had your car serviced. Like if you're a tourist, if you're a backpacker, don't buy like some Holden from the 80s and hope that you can drive around Australia in that, because you can't. It's going to be like 45 degrees out there. Your car's gonna overheat and you're gonna fucking die. Sorry, but don't do it. Especially the outback. Yeah, especially the outback. Look, it's fine if you're like driving from Sydney to Melbourne, if you're driving from Sydney to Cairns, if you're, you know, if you're going around the outside of the continent, it's, you know, where everyone lives, that's okay. Especially the East Coast, you're going to be fine. Along the Southern Ocean coast, you're going to be fine. But yeah, the western and the north part of the continent, no one lives there. No one lives there. There's a few cities, a few very small cities, and that's it. And they're going to be like 20 hours, you know, in between. So just don't do it. And if you do happen to break down, at least you got 10 liters of water. I would take more, honestly. Have a satellite phone that's fully charged. And if you have to sit there and wait for 2 days for someone to get to you, then that's what you do. You stay with your car. Cannot stress that enough. Oh my goodness. Because the amount of people that the Australian, you know, state governments have to spend rescuing dumbass backpackers that like bought a car for $600 off Gumtree and then like tried to drive around. Like we just had to rescue some dippy German girl that like left her car and went off for a jaunt. She was gone for like 2 weeks. Why did she leave her car? If she had stayed with the car, someone would have found her in like a day. Insanity. Sorry, I've got a cough lolly in my mouth. Sorry if the noises are gross.
And no shade. But when the rescue team found them 8 hours later, they were sitting next to a small spring that local Aboriginal guides insisted had never existed before. The family kept talking about an old Aboriginal woman who led them to the water, Bradley recalls. She supposedly stayed with them for hours, keeping them calm and showing them which plants they could eat. But when we arrived, there was no sign of any other person in the area. Some of the most disturbing stories come from people who visit Uluru multiple times and notice that the place seems to remember them. Tourist Jennifer Walsh first visited Uluru in 2005 and had what she describes as a normal, pleasant experience. When she returned in 2010, things were different. From the moment I got off the bus, I felt unwelcome, Walsh explains. Like the place was angry at me for coming back. Every photo I tried to take.
Then I would just leave. If I am such a believer in listening to my gut these days, I'm like, nope, got a bad feeling. Like if a person gives me a bad feeling these days, I've learned that like, it might seem irrational, but in the long run, when I've had that feeling, when I initially meet someone, over time, it's proven to be correct. And yeah, like people could say, oh, you're hysterical, you're this, you're that, or the other. But sometimes your brain is picking up on things and you should listen to it. That recent one gets a pass in your opinion because she crashed and got a head injury. Oh, did she? I didn't know the full story, to be honest. I was just like, oh, another fucking tourist. Here we fucking go. Yeah, sometimes I just read the headlines. I'm definitely guilty of that. Sometimes.
Came out blurry, even though my camera worked perfectly everywhere else. Her second visit was cut short when she became violently ill for no apparent reason. She recovered completely as soon as she left the Uluru area. It was like something was trying to drive me away, she says.
Yeah, so leave.
I felt so unwanted in my entire life. Other repeat visitors report similar experiences of feeling rejected by Uluru on subsequent trips. Some describe dreams where Aboriginal elders warn them not to return, while others simply develop an overwhelming sense of dread that forces them to leave early. Today, Uluru continues to be one of Australia's most visited tourist destinations, but it's also one of its most actively haunted locations. The combination of ancient Aboriginal spiritual beliefs and modern paranormal experiences creates a unique supernatural environment that affects
stunningly beautiful though. Stunningly beautiful. I would love to go there. It's just it's so expensive. It's cheaper for me to go to Japan and stay in Japan for 2 weeks than it is for me to fly out to Alice Springs and get accommodation, find a tour group. Because I'm going on an air-conditioned bus, baby. How many hours? It's like 6 or 7 hours drive from Alice, isn't it? I know, it's far away anyway.
Whether these phenomena represent genuine supernatural activity or the power of suggestion amplified by Uluru's spiritual significance, one thing remains clear. This ancient monolith affects people in ways that science cannot yet explain. The Aboriginal people have always known that Uluru is more than just a rock. It's a living spiritual entity that demands respect and remembers every person who encounters it. For those who take something that doesn't belong to them, the memories can apparently follow them home. And for those who approach with genuine respect, the experience can be life-changing in the most positive ways. But regardless of how you approach Uluru, you'll likely leave with the unmistakable feeling that you've encountered something far more powerful and ancient than a simple geological formation. The spirits of Uluru continue their eternal watch, and their stories continue to unfold with each sunrise over the Australian outback.
Thanks for watching. That was Whispers in Nightmares 2. I'm gonna give it a like because I watched their content, and yeah, it was overall a good video. I did enjoy the AI rendering of the of the people and the office with all the rocks and stuff. I found that amusing. I enjoyed that. Mount Warning, known as Wollongong to Aboriginal people, holds deep cultural and spiritual significance. Oh, if you've ever seen Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest, if anyone knows that movie, I think it's like from the early 90s. But if you've ever seen, I think it's a Warner Brothers movie. It had like Robin Williams in it. He like did the voice of like a fruit bat called Batty. Anyway, that's set in the rainforest around Mount Warning. Mount Warning, known as Wollongong to Aboriginal people, holds deep cultural and spiritual significance for the Bundjalung Nation and other connected Aboriginal communities. It is considered a sacred site, particularly for the Bundjalung people, and it's associated with creation story, dreaming tracks, and traditional lore and custom. The mountain is known as a cloud catcher and a fighting chief of the mountains. Wollongong is a place of great spiritual significance, deeply embedded in the cultural identity of Bundjalung and other connected communities. The mountain is linked to creation stories, dreaming tracks, and traditional lore and custom, reflecting the complexity of Aboriginal culture and traditions. Oh, the summit is closed out. The summit of the track of Mount Warning is currently closed to the public, reflecting the strong desire of Aboriginal custodians to protect the cultural and spiritual values of the mountains. Visitors are asked to respect the wishes of the Aboriginal custodians and avoid the summit track. But yeah, I know a family, well, they're my family, actually, my extended family that climbed it, and they got some bad juju. They definitely probably got a little bit of an Aboriginal curse on them. Yeah, if you get asked not to climb something, probably don't climb it, I would say. That would be my advice. Oh, Tim Curry was in it too. Yeah, he played like Hexam, the spirit that's trapped in a tree, and then like a logging company traps open the tree, and it's like the fairies that live in the rainforest. I don't know. It's a whole thing. It's a cute movie. I liked it when I was a kid. Oh, let's look at the story of the three sisters in the Blue Mountains. That's a cool one. This is a breathtakingly beautiful place that I used to smoke weed at when I was a teenager. And the parrots that live in the Blue Mountains are so beautiful. Like, whenever I take a tourist around the Blue Mountains, they can't believe, like, there's just rainbow parrots everywhere. But yeah, it's just insanely beautiful. Oh, and there's like a type of crayfish that live in these little pools and stuff. I thought they were yabbies, but they're not yabbies. I used to when I was a kid, I used to chuck bacon in there and then get a net and scoop them up, but apparently you're not allowed to do that. Whoopsie. And I used to eat them. Oh, this is like somebody's school project where they have like royalty-free 80s music in the background. Pretty funny. According to the legend, three sisters of the Katoomba tribe fell in love with three brothers from a neighboring tribe, but were forbidden from marrying by tribal law. Oh yeah, I remember this now. According to legend, oh, I already read that. It didn't change. The brothers were angry at this. Oh, wait. So you have the other one up for ages and you have that one up for... A witch doctor from Katoomba tribe decided to turn the sisters into stone to protect them. Only he could reverse the spell, but unfortunately he was killed in the battle. So the sisters tower above the Jamison Valley and are the most famous landmark of the Blue Mountains of New South Wales. There they are. I can't explain how beautiful it looks in real life. Like, it looks absolutely stunning in real life. Like, the colors in this video are very muted, but in real life it's like insane, like blues in the valley, really deep greens because there's rainforest. Like, the Blue Mountains is like very strutted, types of forest. So like as you get high altitudes, you get like very dry scrub. But as you get down on the valley floor, it's like temperate rainforest. And there's trees in the Blue Mountains that were discovered from like the Jurassic period that people thought were extinct, and they were found in like a Blue Mountains valley, the Wollemi pine. There's a lot of like really ancient like Gondwana? The supercontinent. I'm drawing a blank on the name of it. Dating back to like, you know, the time of the dinosaurs. There's a lot of like ancient rainforest, and as you get like higher and higher altitudes, the type of forest changes. The Blue Mountains is also the only place in the world that has hanging swamps. It's an ecosystem known as a hanging swamp. And there's also these cute little, they're kind of like mini kangaroos, and there's like swamp wallabies and rock wallabies, and they're super cute. They are super cute. Anyway, that's the legend of the three sisters. Let's watch the video about creepy places in Japan. That sounds like fun.